Robischaud here with Dawn Silverstein at MS Relief. We're here for my weekly coaching session. For those of you who might not have seen last week's video, Dawn is, I want to call her an intrinsic nutritional coach because she's all about nutrition. But this intrinsic factor that throws in, I just love the perspective of that. And so it really, Dawn, seriously, the more that I learn about what you do, the more I realize that I've been looking for you for a long time.
You have. You're really going to love today then, because it's going to be really different.
Okay.
Really different.
So
today, last week was last week we did our breakthrough session. If you recall, we went through like what's your goal? Really, what are your 3-month and your 6-month goal?
Mm-hmm.
So, do you remember what you said those were?
Yes.
Those 2 goals?
My 3-month goal is to walk with my cane around the block with my husband and my 2 dogs.
Mm-hmm.
My 6-month goal is actually to get healthy enough to take a trip to BC to visit my brother and his wife and my sister-in-law and my sweet niece and nephew.
Right. So that's
I'm not healthy enough to do that on my own.
So, okay, that's fine. Well, here's the thing. The important part right now is that we are going to state in the positive what you want. We are not going to focus on what you can't have. We're going to focus on what you want for yourself in the future, and we already had determined that. I think that they're very achievable goals in those time frames. So what I want you to reflect back on for me is how you know how is this going to feel? I want you to start attaching yourself to these goals. So, for example, the walking with your cane around the block with your husband and your dogs. What are the senses that are coming to mind when we're talking about that? What's it going to look like and feel like for you?
So, in terms of the goals. Okay, so the 3-month goal, you want me to associate some emotions with it? Some, like, building a vision?
Build a vision, right. Tell me what that vision is for yourself. What is that going to look like, feel like? Whatever senses come to mind. Is it smell a certain way? I mean, we talked about it would be late at night. So I want you to paint a picture for me of what that's going to be like.
I'm going to be very relaxed.
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of excited at the same time because walking around the block is something I haven't been able to do in years.
Okay.
I'm going to be excited. But it's going to be very relaxing. I know that my husband will be really, really, really happy for me. He'll be just as excited as I am. And the dogs are going to go, "What? Mommy, you're coming with us?"
Who is she?
Yeah. Papa takes us for a walk, not you.
Happy husband, happy dogs.
Yeah, happy husband, happy dogs. And, that is the biggest joy in my life is my husband and my dogs. So...
What will it smell like?
Wow, okay, so 3 months from now, that's July, right? It's going to, we live in cottage country, so, the town is right on a lake here, and so there's a lot of cottagers in the summertime. In July, it's not at all unusual to smell the smell of burning wood, even though it's summertime with the heat, you know. People have bonfires in their backyard here all the time. So the only smell I can think of is because I'm thinking at that point, July, not a lot of the flowers are in bloom, except for the perennials that don't really have a lot of scent. But color, I can say it will be... there'll probably be mosquitoes, because it'll be July. And you know when you walk by when it's dark out and you walk by a lamp post and there's this big cloud of mosquitoes? Yeah, that's how it'll be.
Yes.
Yeah, and the sky's pretty clear up here.
Okay.
So we do see a lot of stars here. So
Great.
yeah. Oh, crickets.
Okay.
Oh, what am I going to hear? I'm going to hear crickets.
Stars.
Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah, I love
Nice.
the sound of crickets. I actually
Great.
have a sleep machine sound, not aromatherapy, like sound therapy, help you sleep thing. And I go to I go to sleep to the sound of crickets just about every night.
Really?
Find it very.
So you're going to have this. You've painted a beautiful picture for me. I mean, I can imagine it now for you. Really, that you're going to be having this lovely, relaxed, happy walk with your husband and your dogs. You're going to walk through swarms of mosquitoes that you can see up near the lamp posts. There's beautiful stars in the sky, and you can hear crickets. I mean, that's an amazing, powerful vision. So when that happens, what will it do for you? What will having that moment or that evening do for you?
I have been at least 50 pounds overweight for as long as I've known my husband. So that evening, that feeling, that experience, that's probably going to take our relationship to some place it's never been before.
Wow.
New opportunities there.
Where?
In the bedroom.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Well, no. Hey, you know what? It's a fact.
Yeah.
So, shall we say it's going to deepen your relationship?
Absolutely.
Would you say it would?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's awesome. Oh.
That's okay. Yeah, definitely. I know that my husband is a very physical person. He is the happiest guy when he's got a big pile of dirt and a shovel. Okay, because he just loves doing the landscape.
He's a boy.
He's a boy. Yeah, exactly. The only thing that's missing is him down there what's in the dirt, right? But no, he's got the big truck.
Yeah,
right.
right.
And so, you know, and he doesn't have a lot of hobbies, but one of his big things is every morning when he gets up, he takes Dudley, one of the dogs, his dog. My dog stays home with me in bed, and Dudley goes with him. And they go for coffee, and then they go to the park. And Ernest walks a lap around this big, huge, you know, I don't know what it is, like half an acre or what, I don't know, an acre, who knows. There's like a couple of football fields and baseball diamonds and all that,
wow.
right?
Okay.
So it's pretty big.
Yeah.
And anyway, he walks around with the dog. And on the mornings that I do go with him, which has only been recently that started happening, and it's only because I'm still up when he gets up. And so I'll go with him to park with the dog before I come home and go to bed, right? But since that started happening, I go with him. I sit in the truck and I watch, right? Because there's no way I could make that walk, right? So Travis will go out with him.
Right.
Travis is my little doggy. Travis will go out with him so far, and then eventually he'll turn around and come running all the way back across the football field to Mommy.
Yeah.
And that's another joy. That's another joy.
Right.
And I love that.
Right.
Yeah, so...
But if you were in a... That would be yet another... It would be an opportunity for you to share an outing.
Absolutely.
In a different way.
Absolutely.
And so that... What would that do for you if you could actually share in that walk? Even not the whole thing necessarily. Even just part of that. What would that do for you?
I think it will it will deepen my connection with Ernest, definitely.
Okay.
And it will also, it'll have a positive impact on how I feel about myself, being able to do it, right? Like, as I say,
Right.
he's a very outdoorsy guy. He's outside all the time, as long as it's not freezing out there. And where we live, the region that we live in, they have like 12 or 14 nature trails. Well, that's something Ernest would totally get into, right? But I can't walk that distance. Now, we did last summer go out once to one of the parks and just went so far in and had our picnic and then come back out again, right? With lots of rest time in between for me.
Right.
But that was a stretch that day, my going out. But I loved it. It was awesome. So I definitely want to be able to.
All right. So now let's. I don't blame you. It sounds fantastic. So now let's focus on the 6-month goal, which is the being able to fly to see your family. And you told me how you hadn't seen your niece in years, is it? She was a little girl?
She was 9 when they moved out there. That's
okay.
Yeah.
So this same idea now. What is that being able to fly out there and be with your family? What is that going to feel like? And let's go back and do that same exercise. How will you feel? What will it look like? What emotions do you think will be coming up then?
Definitely excited. I think there's going to be a certain amount of empowerment going on there. Because I have made trips in the past when I was well enough, and I enjoy flying. I enjoy travel, period. And so, Ernest doesn't fly, so I'll be going by myself, regardless of how long it takes me to land the dog to go out there. He's also very very protective, very overprotective of me at times with my health. And so when let's say I've got if I have to fly someplace by myself, he's all kind of anxiety filled about like what's going to happen, and we're going to have somebody look after
He's undone.
Who's going to get my luggage, and blah 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 blah, right? So I will be relieved. I will be relieved to be able to have that experience without understanding that he's at home worrying about me. I just think that 60 pounds from now, he's going to be far more confident in my abilities to look after myself, and I will, so exciting
that's awesome.
for me to be independent,
Right.
Yeah. To be glorious.
Right, because there's a lot of freedom there, so it's really pretty there, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Have you been there before?
Never.
Yeah.
Furthest west I've gone is Saskatchewan.
And what about being with your family and seeing your niece and all of that?
I don't even have words for that. Oh my God! The kids, I miss so much. I mean, it is what it is. They live in Victoria, and it was the right decision for my brother and his wife to make. And my sister-in-law, her family's out there. So they've got family out there, and I'm happy for them. Because, out this here way in Ontario, where my brother and I were brought up, both our parents are gone. So, and it's just he and I. So they're pretty close to Mary Helen's family. So, and I'm happy for them there. They're there. And, and unfortunately, my sister-in-law, Mary Helen, just lost her mom, I'm going to say 6 weeks ago or 8 weeks ago or something. So they're going through a really rough time, I'm sure, right now. And, I would so love to get out there. So so that's one of my goals, to be healthy enough. And I guess I'll talk to my other coach about having the money enough to go.
Yeah,
But,
exactly. That's a
it's a
different kind of
different
coach.
coach altogether. Yeah.
So when you, it's a kind of coach, yeah, it's a business coach.
Yeah.
So so you have this, you'd be empowered flying alone, this great sense of accomplishment that you're being independent and healthy enough, and you had reached this goal, and you're going to be able to hold your family and hug them and kiss them, and it's nothing better than that. So what is that going to do for you? Like what changes will you feel when that actually happens?
What is it going to do for me? It is going to have a profound effect on my sense of space. It's going to have, because honestly...
What do you mean by that?
Okay, let me reword that. Okay, right now with the nature of where my MS is at, together with the additional weight that I carry, I might go out of the house maybe twice a week, usually only once. And on Saturdays I go visit my girlfriend, Susan, who has MS as well. So the rest of the week, Ernest runs errands because it's easier for him to do it than it is for me. So, and because I'm a workaholic, I'm always at home in my office. That's another reason. But it also, when you don't have the physical ability, or you're feeling like restricted, or that things are difficult, you tend to stay sedentary, and you tend to not push yourself outside your comfort zone. Like, it's way easier to get him to go get milk instead of me actually getting in the car and going to do it, right? And I have an excuse to ask him, right? So we give ourselves permission to not push ourselves, because today's a bad MS day. Well, you know what? I have lots of bad MS days, and life goes on, even though it's a bad MS day, right?
Do you feel like that it's isolating as well?
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that you do work from home.
Absolutely, and that's where I was going.
Do you find that there's some isolation around that?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Even if I wasn't self-employed, I would spend that much time in the house, right? In the winter time, I can go 10 days, sometimes more, without even sticking my head outside the door, right? Because I don't have to commute to a job, so why would I want to go out and falling in the snow when I can stay here where I'm safe? So it accumulates.
Wow, so getting on an airplane and flying all the way across.
That's what I meant by space. I meant the walls are gone, It'll feel like the world just got a lot bigger again.
Yep. That's awesome.
In terms of the weight loss journey, and because 20 years ago this was just before my diagnosis, I lost 90 pounds in 7 months that year, and I went from a size 26 to a size 14 in 7 months.
Wow.
So I already know the feeling, okay?
Yes.
The feeling was not enough to help me keep the weight off the last time. It was because that's where I was at the time, right?
That's right.
But I'm in a different place now.
How did it feel? You are in a different place now, and how did it feel physically to be smaller?
It was just so foreign, because I've been large, plus size all my life, right? So, size 14 is the most still plus size, but to me that was Ernest went and bought me a mini skirt, okay? We just things.
Wow.
Yeah.
We love Ernest.
Yeah. He's special. But it was so liberating. It was that sense of empowerment I had then was not the year I lost the weight. It was the year that I quit smoking, and I gave up pop, and I gave up sugar for a year and a half, and gave up alcohol, and did all of that. And I know how healthy one can feel. Like, I know what healthy feels like. I know what strong feels like. That year, that was the year that I went on the Copaxone, and my health just went through the roof. My energy escalated, and then I just felt like I could do anything, so I did.
Yeah, you're just like a superhero.
That's how I felt, and that one day, Ernest took down 2 50-foot pine trees in the front yard on the weekend, and he cut them all up in pieces, and he went to work on Monday.
Right.
And what did I do? I went out there with a wheelbarrow, and I cleaned up the front lawn. 2 50-foot pine trees. When 6 months prior, I couldn't walk from the couch to the living room without furniture holding. Right?
No way.
And I cleaned up that front lawn by myself.
Wow.
And I remember thinking to myself that afternoon, why are you bothering? He's going to do this when he gets home. And my answer in my head was, because I can.
Well, but
because
you could.
I can. I was on a major power trip that
because I can. That's right.
And I got to tell you, that is just such an amazing feeling.
Very cool.
So I have had experience.
So I would say that you have and you've got a fair amount of motivation here going on. Then, like you are connected to how you are going to feel in both the 3 and the 6 month goals. When you reach those, you've painted these pictures for yourself. You've connected or reconnected back to how empowered you felt, and that you will feel again. So what I need you to do now is create anchors for yourself to remind you why you're doing this. Why is this important now? And to remind you of all of that empowerment that you just told me about. Your words, your own experience. So an anchor is something physical in your environment that's going to remind you about why you're doing this. So it could be your screensaver. It could be a note around the house. I particularly like people to pick a song that reminds them that means something to you. It's not necessarily, like a rah-rah football kind of song, but something that triggers the memory in you about why this is important. Because you've done this before. You've lost weight before, and you've gained it back, and you've lost and gained it. Like, you're a professional at this, like many of us are. Mm-hmm. We know how to lose weight. We just don't know how to keep it off. So it can be hard, then, to maintain your attention to it, because you just sort of, you lose faith, you just get tired, or you just don't want to have to pay attention. So that's why I need you to develop these anchors for yourself to remind you why it's important. So let's take a minute. I'd like you to, you don't necessarily have to tell me what they are, but I would like you to just jot down, at least for yourself, a song, perhaps a smell, if there's like a candle that you like, or something soothing or stimulating, depending on how you feel you respond better. Something for you to touch on a regular basis throughout the day when you feel like you are losing your faith in yourself to get this accomplished. So that's what I want you to work on next right now.
Okay. And I am going to share.
That's fine, but, take your time. And also keep in mind these things might change,
Absolutely.
But for right now, getting starting, it's important.
First of all, a song. I am a major Motown fan from like the 70s.
Okay.
Diana
Yes.
Ross and all of that, The Spinners and the Four Tops and... Anyways, I could go on. I am going to, this week, I'm going to pick a song, one of my all-time favorites. Not sure exactly which one. There are so many that I really love, but I have a collection of them.
Okay. Right.
And I will copy that MP3 to my desktop.
Okay.
So that it's always really close at hand.
Awesome. Great.
So that I can easily play. The next thing I'm going to do
Okay.
will be I haven't I use aromatherapy a fair amount. I'm always buying really great scented candles
Good.
and whatnot. But I think what I will do
Right.
for in honor of my 3 and 6 month visions, that I will get my
Yes.
incense burner out. And I'll use that when I'm working. At least
Okay.
1 stick a day.
Okay.
And
And what about touch for yourself?
I have this beautiful sort of a stone box that I bought a long time ago, and it was intended to be my God box. I don't know if you've ever heard that expression before. You ever heard of that before?
I haven't. No, what does that mean?
A God box is a container that you either make or buy or whatever, that you once a year or once a month or as often as you need to, once a day if necessary, you write your objectives on a piece of paper and fold that up, and it goes in the God box.
Okay.
And it signifies that you're giving it to God.
Okay.
Right? And that
Okay.
I haven't touched my God box in a very long time, at least 3 years. And I think I'll rearrange things on my desk so it's there, so I can just reach out to it like a touchstone. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, I love it. That's great. Really, really great. Yep.
On my desk.
Very cool. All right. So.
And then just one.
We just have a couple more things. Yes. Go ahead.
Was I think when I'm out this week, and this is a maybe if I find them or not, some kind of really pretty Post-its. And have some critical phrases. Progress is better than...
Okay,
yeah,
great.
done is better than perfect. Yeah. And another phrase...
Pretty Post-its with notes.
Yeah. Notes to self. One of the things that I have... One of the pitfalls that I often have fallen into when dieting over the years is this idea of like all or nothing thinking, so that today has to be absolutely perfect in terms of what I put in my mouth, because if it isn't, well then I may as well eat the whole bloody bag of chips, you know, because I've always been a type A personality and workaholic perfectionist, you know, doing everything to the nth degree. I used to be extremely anal about everything in my life. The towels had to be folded exactly, you know what I mean? I have relaxed. I have relaxed a lot over the years. I'm not sure Ernest will agree with me there, but I have relaxed. For sure, I know I've relaxed because how else could I be a type A personality at 47 and having heart disease and not already being dropped dead? Because I'd be dead by now if I couldn't relax.
You've made changes.
Exactly. I mean, he's always commenting on how one of the things he enjoys about me is that I stay calm, that I'm always, you know, just so very even-keeled about things, right?
Yeah, level-headed.
But, so...
Great. All right, now, well, that's good. That's good. I like that. So my next question for you is there any clutter in your schedule or your environment that needs clearing before you can move forward?
Well, I think this might qualify. This is the to-do pile.
It's a little clutter. It's a little clutter. Oof,
It's the
okay.
to-do pile that needs
Yes.
to be assessed and prioritized. Yeah.
Okay. That is going to be your homework. Before we meet next, is the desk
Okay.
has to get prioritized. You need to create, this whole session today is about creating an environment for success for you. Because without that, what's the point? You know, I can go all over all the nutrition facts and help you with make a plan and so forth, but if you have not created an environment for yourself to succeed, you're going to be tripping over barricades immediately and making it that much harder for yourself. So we are going to remove the barricades first so that you can have some momentum and maintain it and not come up against the easy things that needed to be addressed right now.
Yeah, that makes sense to me because those things, if not addressed, I'm more likely to use them as an excuse not to make healthy choices later.
And we all do. Of course, and we all do, because and it also becomes visual noise.
For that, eh?
Well, no, that's why we address it. That's why we say, like, oh no, I'm not letting you off the hook. I'm actually removing the excuse. So now you won't have that excuse anymore. Because I will go back and say, oh no, remember on this date you showed me a picture of your desk. And it was organized, and methods of madness. See, it's it's not about saying, oh, that's okay. It's just saying it's human. It's understandable. There's an aspect here too of you're not that special. Everybody has these challenges, so let's address the challenges and get them out of the way. Because, when we're looking for an excuse, it's as we make it sound like no one else has it as hard as we do. You don't understand, it's so hard, it's so complicated. Okay, let's stop that right now, because everyone has something. Everybody has issues. Everyone has something to overcome. So let's really focus on the thing that you truly need to overcome, not the thing that is just tripping you up because you're allowing it to. So that's why it's really important that you're going to create an environment. You're going to make, your appointments with me are they're a gift to yourself. They're not to be changed because someone else wants your time. They're for you. So that's not to be changed. Of course, something emergency comes up, that's different. But it's not a movable thing. So you have to start getting into that mentality that this is for you. And that can be hard, especially doing the job that you do. You are there for everybody else. You need to show up for yourself. And part of showing up for yourself is clearing the clutter.
Okay. I will do a clutter inventory this week. I'm not so sure Ernest is going to want to see this.
So other than your desk. I'm not so sure
Ernest is going to want to see this desk. Or going to want to see this list. Yeah.
Well, if he can use a shovel, then he'll be happy.
Yeah.
Just tell him he can use a shovel to move things out of the way, and it'll be fine. So, other than, some of the things are within our control, and some of them are without our control. So what immediately is coming up on your list that is within your control to change?
My desk.
Right.
And there's actually a fair amount of clutter hiding. I have shelves all the way up here in front of me on the wall.
So your whole office area.
Loads of clutter.
Yeah. Okay.
Loads.
So what can you do to start making that better? You need to take an action step here to actually make that better. So that could mean going to the store, going to Staples and getting, office organization tools or the container store or whatever you have there. I don't know. So what would be your action step, like this weekend, perhaps?
I'm not going to make it as complicated as getting some organizational tools, because I have baskets and bins and every kind of organizational, all these little drawer things. Oh, they're everywhere. What I'm going to, and originally everything was set up, but then there ended up being, there's this, and then there's this, and then there's this, and my little, my little Eunice. Did I introduce you? Have I ever introduced you to Eunice?
Your babies, yes.
Eunice Eunice has a very special name. We gave her the Eunice name because a friend of mine gave her to me when I had my uterus removed. So she's Eunice. Uterusless, yes. Trish, yeah, I had a hysterectomy last year because I had a tumor. And they took it out, so... Anyways, yeah.
Oh, man.
So lots of cluttery things all over the place. And I think what I'll do is I will get myself a cardboard box.
Okay.
And I'm just going to take everything off that doesn't belong there. And then I will sit down with the box and figure out where everything's going afterwards. Or... yeah.
Terrific.
And I promise not to stick the box in the closet.
Also good. Yeah, make a decision about it. Either you're keeping it or it's going. And if you're keeping it, where's it going to live? Where's its new house? The other action step you need to take is to put that Motown song on your computer.
Yes.
That's another action step you need to take. And to get out your stone box.
And my incense.
Incense. You need to get that all out. Yeah. So clear out your area. Here's what you're going to do. You are going to create space in your workspace for your anchors.
That's exactly what I'm doing. Yeah, I like it. And I've never heard of this concept. These anchors, and but I love it.
Right.
I like it. Yeah.
Good. Well, that's how I want to end our session today. Is I want you to tell me if you had any aha moments here, or insights, or just an appreciation for everything we talked about today. What comes up for you?
The thing that comes up for me most loudly is how this nutritional coaching that you're doing with me looks absolutely nothing like any effort I have ever made in the past.
Right.
I like that the action steps have nothing to do with emptying out my fridge. That they're about building healthy space in the other parts of my life, and I like that.
Right.
And just as an aside, because last week when I talked to you, you said that you would not be asking me to take anything out of my diet before you introduced some new things. So last night, for the first time in probably about 5 years, after dinner I had a cup of herbal tea. And it was just so nice. So I'm going to do that again tonight.
Lovely.
Yeah, it was like strawberry pomegranate.
What made you do that? Lovely. Well, what you were inspired to do that somehow?
Yes, and it was definitely what you said about adding things. You said something about in order to not create a void when you take something away, you introduce something new first, so that the something that you want to take away ends up leaving because there's no room for it anymore. And I love that. That makes total sense to me. Yeah.
Yeah. How does it feel? Does it feel a certain way to you?
I'm feeling really hopeful. I'm feeling really, really hopeful.
Oh, good.
This is the first.
Good.
This is the first nutritional type plan. You notice I never use that four-letter word. This is the first nutritional type plan that
Yeah.
I have ever been on that I wasn't going at it with mixed emotions. Every other plan in my life I've ever done, even the ones that, worked initially, that I was excited about, there was still all kinds of conflicting emotions going on. Whereas right now, with you and this timing in my life, I have absolutely no reservations in my gut. I just feeling like...
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, it feels...
That's great.
Yeah, definitely. It is. It feels great. I have to say that I guess there's a certain amount of fear, right? Just that same fear of failure all of us have, right?
Right.
But for the most part, I'm just being really open-minded, to whatever you've got coming my way.
Yeah. And I don't see that anything that goes on here is not, there's no failure. There are choices, and there is new ways of thinking. So that is going to lead. That's why I don't say that I don't give out diets. It's not what I do at all. I meet the person where they are so that I can help them move forward in a better way, not yank them off their own path and force them onto a different path, because that never feels good.
Yeah.
And it's too hard to maintain.
And the other thing is, most times, even if people are consciously cooperating, they are unconsciously kicking and screaming all the way.
Yes, all the time. Right. Which is why we certainly don't start with what I'm taking away from you.
Because then it just reminds
even
me
if the
of
person
restrictive.
thinks that they're on board. Right.
Yes.
Of course. And nothing restrictive about my coaching at all. Not at all. There'd just be choices.
Beauty. Beauty.
All right. Well, that is our session for today. Do you feel like you understand your plan, your action steps for the next week? Do you have any questions about that?
No, I'm good. I'm good. Just
okay.
Yeah.
Great.
Get my anchors out. And pick my
Get
music.
your anchors. Just pick your music, get out your anchors, and create a space for them around you. That's your homework.
Okay, well, thanks so much, Dawn. I'll see you next week.